Peace, everybody, man. Welcome to Bite to the Bible, where I just try to, give you some understanding about topics of the Bible. And this topic today, we're going to be discussing is the Sabbath. There's just a lot of just straight up, mishandling of the Sabbath. People kind of making it seem like it could be any day, just not really giving it the importance that it deserves, not understanding that it comes directly from God to us. But I pray we all get some understanding in Jesus' name. So we in Mark 2, I'm going to start at 27. It says, "And he saith unto them, the Sabbath was made for man, and not man for the Sabbath." Right there, we're already seeing God is saying that he's giving this to us, right? It's not the other way around. Therefore, the Son of Man is also Lord of the Sabbath. And so, yes, because he gave it to us, right? The very same God that was actually keeping the Sabbath when he walked the earth, he gave it to us from the very beginning for us. And it's a reason why, and we're going to get into that reason very shortly. Let's continue, though. All right, y'all. We back. We in Genesis 2, right? And all the way in the beginning, and we're going to show this is where God established and set up his Sabbath day for us. But let's read. It says, "Thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the host of them. And on the seventh day, God ended his work which he had made, and he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made. And God blessed the seventh day and sanctified it." Remember, he gave it to us. We read in Mark 2 that the Sabbath was made for man and not man for the Sabbath. So we see here all the way in the beginning that he's sanctifying this very day that was made for man, right? It says, because that in it he had rested from all his work which God created and made. So now we establishing that God blessed this day. He set this day apart and he's given it to man. So right now I see nothing but just good, right? That God is setting up this for us. This is good for us. But let's keep moving on. All right, y'all. Now we are in Exodus 20, and this is the 10 Commandments that God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, he gave to Moses to give to the people, right? And this is the law on how to live, how we are going to honor God and how we're going to treat and love each other, right? How we love God and how do we love man. And this is the 10 Commandments. And one of the parts on how we love on how we love God is keeping his Sabbath, right? But we'll see, we'll read it in this, right? We'll get right to it though. We'll start at verse 1, then we'll skip. It says, "And God spake all these words, saying, I am the Lord thy God, which hath brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me." Right? So we establishing who's talking. This is God, and he's setting it up right from the beginning. The first commandment was, "Thou shalt not have no other gods before me." Right? And we have other gods before God all the time. But we're gonna skip down. We're gonna skip down. Gonna get right into it. Verse 8. It says, "Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy." So this is the process, right? Verse 9. "6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work." Remember, we read in Genesis how God worked for 6 days, and on the seventh day he rested. So we're supposed to be doing the same thing. It says, "But the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, nor thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates." And this is the process. "For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth," just like we read in Genesis, "the sea and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it." We also read that he sanctified it, right? So and he's given this to man. And this is in the Ten Commandments. He's given this to his children. And then essentially the children of Israel, which are the priests, are supposed to then give this to the world. But let's keep on moving and establishing. All right, now we just trying to build on the importance of the Sabbath, and that God is not playing. And if you defile his Sabbath, he's gonna cut you off. And we're gonna learn what that cutting off mean. So we're gonna get right into it. Where are we gonna start? All right, we're gonna start at Exodus 31, and we're gonna start at verse 13. It says, "Speak thou also unto the children of Israel, saying, Verily my Sabbath ye shall keep, my Sabbaths ye shall keep, for it is a sign between me and you throughout your generations, that ye may know that I am the Lord that doeth sanctify you." We keep hearing that he sanctified us. Why? Because he sanctified and set this day apart from the very beginning to give to us. Verse 14, "Ye shall keep the Sabbath therefore, for it is holy unto you." Right? "Everyone that defileth shall surely be put to death." You see? God not playing. He say he gonna put us to death. "For whoever doeth any work therein, that soul shall be cut off from among his people." You see? So if God's saying he gonna cut you off, that means he gonna kill you for breaking his Sabbath, which is his law. And so if you break his Sabbath, his holy, sanctified Sabbath that he gave to us, then you in error. And he's going to go into it and give us the process again, just like he did. 6 days may work be done, because he created the heavens and the earth in 6 days. But in the seventh is the Sabbath, day of rest. 6 days may work be done, but in the seventh is the Sabbath of rest, holy to the Lord. "Whosoever doeth any work the Sabbath day, in the Sabbath day, he shall surely be put to death. Wherefore the children of Israel shall keep the Sabbath, to observe the Sabbath throughout the generations, for a perpetual covenant." And perpetual just means never ending. "It is a sign between me and the children of Israel forever. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, and on the seventh day he rested and was refreshed." So it's a sign between us and God that we're keeping his Sabbath. So if you're saying you don't got to keep the Sabbath, especially if you're saying you don't got to keep the Sabbath, you basically saying that you don't want no sign, no sign between that you and God are on one accord. But let's move on to show you that not only do God talk about it, he be about it. And we'll see why I say that. All right, chat. Not chat. I'm sorry. All right, people, we back. And we remember I said not only does God talk about it, he be about it. So let's see him being about it right here. So we're in Numbers 15, right? And so a guy is going to be caught doing something he's not supposed to be doing. And God's going to deal with him accordingly. So let's read up on that. It says, "Ye shall have one law for him that sinneth through ignorance, both for him that is born among the children of Israel." So that's people that are like blood Israel. "And for the stranger that's sojourning among them." So that's for anybody else that was from any other nation that was keeping the commandments of God. So all the way back here in Numbers, we see that we were always dealing with a mixed multitude, because there was other nations that was seeing the God of Israel, and they was wanted to follow and keep the commandments. That wasn't other Israelites. That was literally people from other nations. But let's keep going. It says, "But the soul that doeth aught presumptuously, whether he be born in the land or a stranger, that same reproach the Lord, that soul shall be cut off from among his people, because he hath despised the word of the Lord, and have broken his commandment. That soul shall utterly be cut off. His iniquity shall be upon him." You see, that means your sin is going to be upon you. You're going to be cut off. That means God going to kill you. It says, "And while the children of Israel were in the wilderness, they found a man that gathered sticks upon the Sabbath day." So it's like, yo, they found this man gathering sticks, right? And we already was reading. And if you read a little bit further in Numbers, it talks about like sinning and ignorance and stuff like that. But I don't believe this guy was doing this thing right here in ignorance, because God dealt with him accordingly. Let's keep going though. It says, "And they found him gathering sticks, brought him unto Moses and Aaron and unto all the congregation, and they put him in prison, because it was not declared what should be done to him. And the Lord said unto Moses, that man shall surely be put to death. All the congregation shall stone him with stones without the camp. And all the congregation brought him without the camp and stoned him with stones, and he died, as the Lord commanded Moses. So the Lord commanded Moses to kill this man because he was picking sticks up on the Sabbath, when God says, if you're doing any work on the Sabbath day, you're going to be cut off. So we got to understand God is not playing when it comes to his Sabbath. All right, we back. Got to give you some New Testament for sure. You know what I'm saying? Can't give you all of the Old Testament without giving you some of that New Testament. So this is John. This is Luke 4. Luke 4. Right? We want to start at verse 14, just to show you that Jesus kept the Sabbath. So if you saying you don't gotta keep the Sabbath, then why did Jesus do this? It says, and Jesus returned in the power of the Spirit into Galilee, and there went out a fame of him throughout all the region round about. And he taught in their synagogues, being glorified of all. And he came to Nazareth, where he had been brought up. And as his custom was, he went into the synagogue on a Sabbath day and stood up to read. Right? So not only did he read on the Sabbath, he also healed on the Sabbath too. Let's go there really quick. John 5. I'm going to read a little bit. This John 5. It's New Testament, y'all. It says, after this, there was a feast of the Jews, and Jesus went up to Jerusalem. See, keeping the feast. Now, there is at Jerusalem by the sheep market a pool, which is called in the Hebrew tongue Bethesda, having 5 porches. In these lay a great multitude of impotent folk, a blind, halt, withered, and waiting for the moving of the water. For an angel went down at a certain season into the pool and troubled the water. Whosoever then first after the troubling of the water stepped in was made whole of whatsoever disease he had. A certain man was there which had an infirmity 30 and 8 years. When Jesus saw him lie, and knew that he had been now a long time in that case, he said unto him, wilt thou be made whole? The impotent man answered him, Sir, I have no man when the water is troubled to put me in the pool, but while I am coming, another steppeth down before me. Jesus said unto him, Rise, take up thy bed and walk. And immediately the man was made whole, and took up his bed and walked. And on the same day was the Sabbath. The Jews therefore said unto him, And the Jews therefore said unto him that was cured, Is it the Sabbath day? Is it not lawful for thee to carry thy bed? He answered them, He that made me whole, the same saith unto me, Take up thy bed and walk. So just kind of showing you in the New Testament, not only did Jesus teach on the Sabbath, he healed on the Sabbath. So it's lawful to do good on the Sabbath, but just proving that God kept the Sabbath. So why don't you? All right, y'all, we're going to finish it right here, man. It's our last bite right here, man. I hope we've been able to fill you up with the word of God, man. So we're going to finish it in Isaiah 66. It says, I'm going to start at 21. It says, and I will also take of them for priests and for Levites, save the Lord. For as the new heavens and the new earth, which I will make, shall remain before me, saith the Lord, so shall your seed and your name remain. And it shall come to pass. So this will happen, y'all. It shall come to pass. This will happen. That from one new moon to another, and from one Sabbath to another, shall all flesh come to worship before me, saith the Lord. And we already know this is going to be in the future. It's going to be in the kingdom. It says, for a new heaven and a new earth, which I will make, shall remain before me, saith the Lord. So shall your seed remain. So shall your seed and your name remain. Verse 24. And they shall go forth and look upon the carcasses of men that have transgressed against me. The people that don't keep God's Sabbath. The people think that it's just any day, right? The people that are teaching men so. The people who are liars. The people who are thieves. The people who are going against God. This is what these people have coming. Anybody. It says, and they shall go forth and look upon the carcasses of the men that have transgressed against me, for their worm shall not die, neither shall their fire be quenched, and they shall be abhorrent unto all flesh. So, I pray that these bites of the Bible filled up your understanding a little bit. And so, I thank you for your time. Peace in Jesus.